Hey guys, it is Wednesday, March 16th, 10:11 p.m. Eastern New York time. And just a quick video. I had a lot of action today with FOMC. Um, certainly was negative for the dollar, which is at least where the Elliott wave patterns certainly were suggesting that. Um, and so just a couple of quick reviews. So on some of these euro pairs, um, a little bit different perspective. This is Euro Aussie on the monthly chart. You can see right here, and again, remember this is a monthly chart, so this takes a long, long time to play out. Um, but if you see here, this low, which happened back in 2012, we had a five-way move up. This is a perfect five-way move. This is a corrective move, and now we have a wave one, and then an ABC. And so I am expecting Euro Aussie to continue to the upside once this correction terminates right here. Okay, ABC, and it's probably nearing that down to the weekly, down to the daily. It looks like on the daily chart, maybe we got one more push down, and then am expecting the Euro Aussie to turn back up. If we come and take out this high right here, then I would expect a move back to the upside. So that's Euro Aussie. Euro Canadian, um, let's see. I looked at this one earlier. It's a similar story where we look like we're ending a correction here soon, although it's not over yet. You do expect the Euro Canadian to move potentially down a little bit more, and then that uptrend to also continue. Here's the weekly chart. Looks like we had a potentially a five-way pattern complete up here, and then an ABC down more like a zigzag, whereas the Euro Aussie was more of a flat pattern. And once this is the part of the C wave down. Once this finishes, we'll be moving back up again. So longer term, expecting Euro Canadian to go up. And this actually may have been the start of it right here. We may actually have been in an ABC if we go all the way down here. So this was last Friday's action, and that this is an ABC, A, B, and C down, and then back up. So potentially we'll have to watch this. I don't think this correction is over yet. I think it has a little bit more, but we'll have to see. The CCI still is a little unclear on that. It does kind of look on CCI that it's potentially the correction ended right here and we're moving back up. I'm going to watch it. If we take out these highs here, then this correction is potentially over. I'm not quite sold on it yet, but this is looking pretty bullish all the way down to the 20-minute chart. And so again, continuing the theme that these euro pairs basically are moving up. So euro dollar, again, this was last Friday's price action, and that big push up here was a corrective move. And I was saying all week that I thought that although I saw a scenario where this could have been a new downtrend and we would have had a small correction and then down, but like I said, my bias was to the upside, and I still am holding to that. Now, I have this label as an ABC, and I'm not sure because we had this down move here, whether this is corrective or not. I'm not sure, but either way, even if this is a C wave, it's got quite a ways to go. If you measure the length of this A wave, if this is an A or a 1, it's 390 pips. So let's say this is the end of the B wave or the wave 2. 390 pips goes off the chart here on this 6-hour chart, and we're only less than halfway to that point. So I would say we probably got at least a couple hundred more pips to the upside on euro dollar. And then once it gets to that point, and we get up about 390 pips off this low, then I'll be looking to see whether what happens after that. Do we get a sharp reversal down suggesting this was an ABC, or do we get just kind of a sideways action, wave 4, and then it goes up again for wave 5? We'll have to see, but we're not there yet. A couple hundred more pips to go. So I am long euro dollar, and I'm going to plan on holding that for a while. So euro Kiwi. Looked at this trend. This uptrend appears to be over. And again, whether this is part of an ABC, I'm not sure, but it looks like, this was a 5-wave trend up. It's now ended, and it's correcting. Once this correction's over, I will be looking for Euro Kiwi to go back up. I think this correction is nearing an end, but I don't think it's quite over yet. I think it may have a little bit more downside, but at some point, Um, oops, on an up arrow, not a down arrow. Some point, in here somewhere, I'm expecting Euro Kiwi to reverse back to the upside. Now we had positive Kiwi news today that you would think would push this down, and but that may be the case. It may be that the positive Kiwi news is going to be short lived. We'll have to see. So obviously that's a conflict with patterns versus fundamentals. That if the Kiwi is rallying, then the Euro Kiwi obviously should be continuing to fall off. And that's again part of the reason why I don't think this correction to the downside has ended yet. So I'm certainly not looking to go long quite yet, but I will be watching this for signs of a potential resumption of an uptrend. And Euro Yen again looks like it's finishing a trend. I think this is the last piece of this trend, and then we'll be looking for a correction down, and then eventually a resumption of an uptrend, or it could just be a wave C up. This could be an A, and then a B, and then we'll go up for C. Obviously, we've had a substantial downtrend going here. So again, whether this marks an ABC or whether this is a new uptrend, we'll have to see. But either way, it looks like this current trend is going to be ending, and then we'll have a correction down, whether that's a correction to an uptrend, whether it's a wave B, and then we go back up. Either way, after the correction, again, like all the other ones, I'm expecting it to go back up, but not quite yet. So let's see, just going over to U.S. Swiss. It was pretty easy to see today. That this, we had this big move down, and that this was a correction up. It was, it's just a kind of a textbook correction. Sharp move down, and then just kind of sloppy sideways correction. And the way I played this, knowing that this was going to be a correction, is I just drew a trend line across these lows. And since I wasn't watching at the time FOMC came out, I had a sell stop just about under here. And so I was filled right about here. So I'm still in this trade, and this is going to go down a ways more. I would expect that it's going to at least cover this much ground, just about 280 pips off of this high. Let's see, that we still got another 140 pips, only probably about halfway through. So I'm going to be holding this to the downside, and then we'll see after that whether this represents a correction down and back up. But either way, again, it's going to be going down for a while still. U.S. yen. I've been pointing into this triangle all week and saying that, I had gone short. I forget what it was back here somewhere. I took some profit, but it bounced back up. And I said that this is probably going to have to play out through this entire triangle. And, it looks like we've pretty much gotten there. And now we've broken through. So we'll see what happens if this trend line holds. If this comes back up and tags this and down. You can see we're running out of room inside this triangle. So at some point, I was expecting this to break to the downside. And once it does, expecting probably about at least a 350 pip move to the downside, which takes us down to about here. So we'll have to watch this. It is potentially that this could bounce back up. But after the negative dollar news, this, the CCI is going down compressed. And, we are looking at a CCI kind of spread out here. We had the sharp move down. Now it's kind of just bouncing spread apart. That this is just a correction and will continue down. And that certainly is a result of FOMC too. And so we'll have to see. U.S. Canadian, same thing. Perfect correction here. Broke to the downside. I actually did not take this trade. I missed it. I was too busy watching U.S. Swiss and Euro dollar, which obviously move completely opposite of each other. So I actually missed Euro CAD, but I did take U.S. yen, U.S. Swiss, and Euro dollar. And that's it. The pound pairs, there was a little bit of movement on those. Not going to really cover those now. Aussie pairs, Aussie Canadian looked like, it finished this uptrend here, and it looks like it is correcting, but I am expecting the Aussie to move back up at some point. Aussie dollar did move sharply higher today on positive news. But that to me looks like a potentially ending a trend here, a wave five. So I didn't take this trade because although this is probably going to go up a little ways. This is probably a wave five, and it's going to end soon back to the downside. So, but if you're in it, I certainly would hold it. Euro, Kiwi dollar, um, again, positive Kiwi news has propelled this pair higher. Um, but here, if you look, on the weekly and the daily chart, it still looks like we're, even despite all that, we're in a correction to a downtrend. So that's why I was saying before that even despite the Kiwi news, like when we were looking at Euro Kiwi, that this eventually, this good news will expire and that will move lower again, which will push Euro Kiwi up. Because I said before there was a little bit of a conflict on those two, but again, if you look at Kiwi dollar on a longer time frame, this still looks like it's in a correction to a downtrend. So despite this big move up today, that this may not sustain. Clearly I think it'll go up some more. The CCI suggests this is just a correction. We could still go up and challenge these other highs, but I think in the end it will come back down. So anyway, that's it. It was an interesting day, and I don't know how much I'll be watching things tomorrow. But there is overnight some Japanese yen news. The Bank of Japan Kuroda speaking. We have Swiss news in the morning, so be cautious of that. Especially I'm still short Euro Swiss, so I will be watching that closely. And then around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning is the British pound monetary policy and bank rate votes. They're not expecting any change, so I would suspect unless there's some really big deviance in this or something really bearish or bullish in their comments, that this is probably not going to have a lot of effect, even though it's red level. Again, unless we get some surprise here and they change their votes, it's not forecasted to, then I'm not expecting that we'll see a lot of action on this. Again, unless there's a surprise. But if anything on the pound pairs, I still think pound yen is due for a correction down. It's moved up sharply. It does look like it's trying to correct back down again, and so which is potentially a wave five. So if anything, I would expect pound pairs to move back to the downside, at least for a short time. Although again, it doesn't really look favorable because to me, pound Canadian looks like it's probably ending a trend, and same thing with pound Aussie. So I'm not expecting a lot with these. Even pound Swiss, is potentially, ending trends here. So we'll see. I'm not expecting. I am going to try to get up and watch some of that, but I'm not expecting any big movement. Although I think if there's anything that it might be bearish, and we might see a small move to the downside on a couple of the pound pairs before we end trends. So, but again, I'm not expecting it to be a big mover unless there's something really unexpected happens. So that's it, guys. Have a great night, and thanks. And hopefully this was helpful. And again, don't take any trades based on anything I say. Use your own judgment and base it on your own analysis. But that's how I see it from an Ellioot wave perspective with the fundamentals. So have a